we are giving this week for the final.
You put it at what percentage?
Right now he's at 60%.
At 60%.
Yes, Chair.
Chair, I want to ask, why is the contractor's law? Well, that is what the public feels, comparing ourselves to Kakamega and other counties, Uasin Gishu. Why is the contractor's law?
Chair, I imagine it was a bit of capacity challenges, but the way he has picked up now, I'm expecting the next 3 months to be out.
The way he has picked up now?
Yes.
So you picked a contractor that did not have a capacity?
We follow the documentation and we do also the county
that
check.
Goes back to due diligence, Chair.
Chair, let me help my QS. That's a big challenge that we're having in the counties, where you get contractors, documentation is perfect. They even give you financial statements that show that they have money. Just the way our people do when you want to go to the US, you go and get a bank statement from somebody, produce it, then you don't, then immediately you go.
Chair, please, Governor, through the chair, you know the Americans are watching. You want our people not to be going to America. Also, natoboa sira ya Wakenya, which is dangerous. Yeah, nyumba. Can you use a better example, Chair? And you know, Senator Sifuna is a friend of the Americans nowadays. So, natoboa sira.
Or if you want to go to Uganda. What the point I was making is that we have a lot of challenges where the contractors are not presenting the correct position. Because you realize, and my roads engineer is here, somebody presents very good documentation, but unless it's paid, he can't move. Unless you pay him, he just waits. So we must look for another way of identifying the real capacity of the contractors. Because this contractor came, the document looked well, and he looked like he can perform. But then he has had a lot of challenges, and that's why we are where we are. We would be where Kirinyaga is, where Migori is, where Embu is. Thank you.
Since almost every county has an issue under KIPES, or every county that has appeared before us, maybe we might, as a committee, call for some special audit on KIPES across the country, because it's not yet time for a performance audit. They've not started functioning. So we can keep this in view, because they have confirmed that the contractor is on site, and so Senator Chiradi?
Maybe, Governor, there are some of your colleagues who have appeared here and they sometimes feel that KIPES is not necessary. What will be the value addition to the business and farmers and the people through the chair and the people of Bungoma? Is this necessary? Will it do some change around? Because some of your colleagues are arguing that they were never consulted, the designs were poorly done, like in Makueni and other areas. Maybe just Chair, in 30 seconds, you can tell us whether this aggregation park is a necessity in Bungoma and whether there will be value addition on which type of goods that these KIPES will provide to the people.
I think we did agree in COG that they were necessary in all the places, and governors, most governors were launching them. So when you turn around and say now it doesn't add value, I think it's double speak. But I think for Bungoma, we're going to have value addition. Let's look at what informed the whole concept of the KIPES, value addition, aggregation. I know where Senator Sifuna's side comes from there. The bananas that your mom is growing and the neighbors would be aggregated in Sangalo, and also ones from Mount Elgon and all that. So instead of Kungangana Sana, we have warehouses that are going to be there, coolers that are going to be there. So it's going to add value, in my opinion. Thank you.
Chair, through you.
Senator?
As you come from Bungoma to Adwebuye, there is a facility that was constructed by the local government at that time, purported to be a horticultural cooling stuff. When you pass there, the place is like a defunct ruin. Even the women who don't have where to put their goods can never step there. And yet it's a well-built facility. That shows us that unless we are careful and determined to do value addition, those coolers in Sangalo might never be seen by anyone and might degenerate faster than the ones on the highway to Nairobi. So I hope and pray, my governor, that we motivate our farmers to make use of those facilities. Otherwise, that structure on the way at Matisi is a key study of big projects that can be shameful to the sight of the taxpayer. Thank you.
I agree with you.
Governor, I don't know what assurance you can give the people of Bungoma who feel that there's usually not adequate consultation, especially public participation, when we're doing these projects. There are people who fear that in the next few years, that Sangalo National Polytechnic or Bungoma National Polytechnic might lose all its land to these government projects that don't involve the community. I don't know what assurance you can give them as the governor of Bungoma.
Governor? Yeah, we will ensure that we have public participation going forward, so long as it's a proper public participation. Because I remember when I was a speaker here, we had that bill. I don't know that it went through the public participation bill, because again, my experience has been, everybody hires their own supporters to come and cheer or jeer, depending on what you are prosecuting. Then it ends up not even being a public participation exercise. But we'll consult with all the stakeholders to ensure that whatever we are bringing, it's part, they own it. Otherwise, if they don't own it, again, it can end up being an elephant. I don't know which color. It can be an elephant. Thank you, Chair.
How much land did Sangalo cede for the KIPES?
Sasita. How much was Sasita? It was mine. Huh?
Because if you followed the recent...
It was around 30 acres.
Around 30 acres.
Yeah, I wanted to get
if you follow the contemporary conversations, the former Vice Chancellor of Kenyatta University addresses himself to such issues where institutional land is being hived off on executive orders. So we need to be careful about that. So we keep these KIPES view and move to the next issue. Of course, we'll make more specific recommendations. The next issue is the Sangalo Junction to dual carriage. There's a very detailed finding there by the Auditor General. There's an even more detailed response from the county, which is how many pages, Governor? 3 pages. So, taking note of the written responses, Auditor General, your query was value for money. Was there any finding here that implied loss of funds?
Honorable Chair, no.
So when you say that, bill, for example, under bill number 16, some bitumen etc. had not been done. If it had not been done, had it been invoiced?
No.
When you say that concrete works, including a footbridge costing 50 million, had not been done, had it been invoiced?
No.
So all the issues you have raised there, Bill 16, 17, 20, 26, street lighting, was done by another state agency.
Yes.
Did the county also pay?
No.
For street lighting?
No.
So in your observations, you are just raising variations in the BQs?
Which ought to have been done. For that 24.2 million, the BQ has not been revised to remove that item.
What's the process of revising the BQ?
They need to be subjected to evaluation committee.
Governor, was that done?
roads.
Thank you, through the chair. We did not revise the BQ because the contract already lapsed. The contract lapsed in 2022, and the street lights done by the national government was done in 2024.
If you are supposed to do a bridge at 50 million and it wasn't done, are you just going to say, fine, it wasn't done, so there's no need to revise anything?
Chair, in our initial variation, the footbridge was removed from the contract.
Yes, I think that's a process that we are talking about.
Yes.
So,
we did an evaluation, and the variation committee was there, and the footbridge was removed.
So why didn't you explain that to the auditor? Because the auditor says you should have done that. You didn't demonstrate that you did it when you came for the audit.
unless he was not supplied with the variation contract.
Auditor General, am I asking what you asked, or I'm asking for new information?
Yes, we are doing the same. We did the same ourselves, and that was not explained.
It was not explained.
Yes.
So we take, for instance, the 50 million bridge. You see, the public will conclude that the governor ate the bridge. Watasema umekula hiyo daraja.
I was going to ask if the county government now says a footbridge at Chepkube is not necessary. Is that what you're saying?
No, Chair. When the contract was being varied, there are quantities that were removed. One of them was a footbridge.
That's not the question. Do the people of Bungoma, because here there's a very busy market that's on the road there, do the people of Chepkube there still need a footbridge on that road?
Yes, they need a footbridge, and in our submission and handover of the road to Kenya, those are the part of the quantities or scope of work that we told them to do.
Through the chair, I want to ask, and I don't know if this works. You know, there people are back on that road, and the public does not even understand who is working. When did this agreement, or when did Kenya take over this facility? When a contractor had not done what we agreed that he should do, and looking at the millions, 1.something billion given to them, they have not done what we had expected them to do. Is it in order? We have not, even the street lights, as you say, they are concrete posts funded by the national government during Madaraka, consuming a lot of our taxpayers' money. There is no cabro around that road for people to walk. The drainage is pathetic. There are no rails. My friend, how can we allow such people to go scot-free and just hand over a 6-point-something kilometer to national government?
Governor?
And who are these evaluation committee? We need to know them. Under whose instructions are they following to change that thing?
Probably, Chair, that's put it in context. When we inherited that road, when we came in, we found a huge pending bill. Most of the works that were done had not been paid. So what we did is to first of all pay for the works done before we then give them instructions to do work that they are ought to do. For example, they had not done the second layer, but we had not even paid for the first layer. We cannot tell them to do a footbridge, and we have not really paid for the first layer. Because when they do work, we measure, then pay. Do work, we measure, then pay. So most of the works, even right now, certificate number 8, 9, and 10 has not been paid.
Through the chair. Last year, that road had manholes protruding on the road.
Manholes or potholes?
Manholes, and at some point, potholes. So there was a collab between manholes and potholes. And at some point, those manholes were flattened, and people started marking that road. The public rose up against and asked, why are you marking the road, and yet part of the work has not been done? That exercise stopped. Today, they are now recapitulating with a thin layer of what we call kokoto. Looking at the sides, no drainage. On the side of West Kenya, Mteremuko, down West Kenya, that water is bringing down people's houses. We cannot allow the contractor to go scot-free. If it's a Chinese, Honorable Chair, the Chinese fella must be brought to be seen in public so that people know this is the Chinese person who is taking off with our money. Thank you, Chair.
So
Chair, for the record, you see the Chinese was pointing at me. I'm not the Chinese, right?
No.
By the way, Chair,
Don't suspect yourself.
you know, in the elections of 2022, I might not have followed the conversation in Bungoma because I was also looking for my own seat. But I remember this dual carriageway being a very hot button issue. I don't know if the governor can jog our memory about what he said he would do and whether he has done what he promised on this dual carriageway.
Governor?
What I promised was to hand over that road to Kenya, which we have done. From the initial...
Senator Sifuna,
No.
you seem to know much more than the governor is.
No, that's what I promised to do. That first of all, that was not our road. The road belonged to Kenya. For the county government to have put money, I mean, to have budgeted for about 1.9, that can do several roads. And that's what I used to say. That was wrong to have put that kind of money on a 6 kilometer road from Musikoma to Kandui. And I said it was wrong. And I said, I will hand over to Kenya, which I have done. It has had a lot of issues. Even the workmanship was poor and the designs were wrong. In fact, my two senators know, to turn you have to go all the way to see you where before you turn. But now we could not just abandon it the way it was. We have handed over to the right people to complete it, and that's what I promised. Although it has all those challenges, Honorable Senator. Thank you.
It's what class of road is it? Is it a C or a B class?
Class C.
It's a class C,
yeah,
which should be a national government road.
Yes, it is.
Now, Senator Wakoli, it is our power. We have it in our power to compel anybody who needs to appear before us or who needs to be seen in public. We have that power. So without sounding like we are profiling Chinese contractors, I don't think that should go on record. Whoever it is, whether it's a local contractor or an international contractor, if at the point of report writing, we feel like there were significant irregularities, we have the power to summon anybody, because this is a lot of money. It is 1.6. No, how much is it? 1.5 billion, 1.57 billion. That's a lot of money for a county government. So I agree with you that whoever needs to be summoned, we can summon.
Chair, I think, Governor, and you were with us during the turbulent times of NMS and transfer of functions. I remember, Chair, when you chaired us in last session, you remember Narok County government did boarding facilities. That is a preserve of national government. Is there any documentation that was written between the county government of Bungoma and Kenya National Highway Authority that they should do that road?
There was documentation.
There was documentation?
Yeah.
So, Chair, maybe we look at that, but there is no value for money here because doing 6 kilometers at 1.5 billion, and was it approved by Kenya for the county government to do it?
It was approved.
Okay.
Fine.
As you finish, Chair.
Yes, Senator. Finally.
As you can clearly see, and I wish the El Nino rains come so that you can take a chop and visit that dual carriage. When it rains, it becomes a waterway. If you are brief in height and not stable enough, the water can sweep you down the drain.
But everybody eats ugali there.
No, ugali is not a factor here. We are talking about quality, the quality of work. We are talking about the storm and rainwater. I wish you people, through the chair, take a visit when it is raining in Bungoma. This is a scam. These people have looted Bungoma. And I pray, Governor, that before this national government takes this road,
maybe
let those people account for the 1.2 or 3 billion.
Chair.
So that you also wash your hands like Pilato and allow these people to be either crucified or let free because of what they have done.
Remember, we have the power as Parliament to recommend the debarment of a contractor. So that if it's workmanship arising from the capacity or negligence of a contractor, then we can put a stop to it. So again, we have the power. Governor.
Chair, I don't want to contradict what my senator said. He seems very angry. But before casting aspersions and making judgment against maybe any contractor, like you have said, you have powers, why don't we maybe constitute some investigation to find out, because we also want value for money. We want to know how much has been spent and whether there is value for money on that particular road without making this value judgment at this point in time. Through you, Chair.
Senator Dulo, you wanted to make a comment? Senator Sifuna?
Chair, there was a recent conversation in the national space about how counties have utilized the money that we send to them, especially in northern Kenya. If you ask me, as somebody whose rural home is in Bungoma, did the town need that dual carriageway? Yes. Was it necessary, or was it required that the county government take up that responsibility? I think it's no. Because if you look at what the national government has done in other towns, what it has done in other towns, including our neighbors in Kakamega, that dual carriageway through Kakamega town was done as part of the road from Kisumu to Webuye. And it has actually added value. So as county government, sometimes you get yourself in a situation where you are forced to do some of these things. I remember the example that we gave of Mandera County, where they didn't have a TTC, there were no teachers there, they didn't have a KMTC, so they have to build these things themselves. The first kilometer of tarmac in Mandera town, ever since this country was founded, was built by devolution. So sometimes there is a fine line, Chairman, and one of the things that we want to do, especially in the new dispensation, Governor, from 2027, is we want also, the way they list the amount of money that goes to each county through devolution, we want to see how much money the national government spends in Bungoma as well. Because they have the chunk of the money, and you find that these resources are sent to other places inequitably. Our friends in the north are celebrating their first ever road. Why is it being just done now? That's a question we need to ask.
Chair.
Senator, Governor.
I also just wanted, now that, when we talk, we are on record. You asked the auditor a question and he's responded by saying, so far there's no loss of money. My senator said there is loss of money. So what is the ruling?
But I think, Chair,
you know, there's a gap which you have not agreed on.
Chair, the government is setting a trap for you.
Your officer,
You need to be careful.
your officer says that there were evaluation committees constituted. The Auditor General says that they did not see that evidence.
Yes.
So until and unless we see that evidence, we cannot make a definite conclusion on the matter.
But Chair, you asked a direct question to the auditor and he answered. That's what I was saying now, it throws us into confusion because my senator said a lot of money has been looted.
Yes.
And it's on record. The auditor, who is qualified, the most qualified person to address matters of impropriety in any institution, says there's no money that was lost. So
Auditor, did you see the evaluation committee proceedings as you had requested for those variations?
We did not, and in addition to that, Honorable Chair, we have listed so many defects in that project. Definitely, there is no value for money for that 1.3 million.
Yeah, so Governor, I don't think it's an issue of black or white in this, because there is some spectrum in between, which can only be dealt with if we get the documentation that the auditor is talking about. Senator Dulu.
Chair, would a ruling that the auditor just keep the matter in view, would that satisfy everyone?
I don't know whether it will satisfy Senator Wakoli's
The auditor said,
which has been made worse by the fact that he has missed lunch.
he has said there is no value for money.
Yes.
And number two, what my governor is saying, when you loot silently using the rule of law, does not make you innocent. We have to catch up with you. That is why when we see the road drainage is bad, all the entry points of the roads to town, the water is digging and spoiling the same road. If the traffic lights are concrete posts with the cable of Kenya Power running, then it simply tells you with no pavement for pedestrians to walk on a dual carriage. We have planted palm trees on the sides of the dual carriage without proper drainage. What are we saying? There are standards. So where I sit, I have every right to represent the people of Bungoma and say, with the billions pumped there, we need a third eye.
That's important. Senator Dulo.
Chair, I would advise Senator Wakoli, if he can bring a statement on the floor of the House when we open, then we summon actually the CS and also the technical people to give us evidence as far as documentation is concerned. And they can also send maybe inspectors to go and look at that particular road so that Bungoma people can be satisfied.
Chair, I also want to agree. Honorable Senator raised actually a statement on the floor of the House in transport, and we came and responded. The county came and responded to it that time. ESCC are also seized of the matter. So why don't we allow those institutions that are mandated to carry out investigations, to carry out the investigation and give us a proper report? Even me as a governor of Bungoma, I would not want to see money lost or a project that does not add value to the people of Bungoma and where money cannot be accounted for.
Fine. So we'll have to tie our recommendations to the deliberations of the committee on roads, so that we are not.
Yes, we never finished.
We are not coming up with conflicting conclusions.
Yes, we never finished the work because we changed the chairpersons. And number two, the arms of government that we have today must be called to order, because we are having governors in perpetuity. We can't have Mheshimiwa Ken Lusaka, first governor. When the second one comes, signs a funny deal like this, he goes scot-free. He is coming here, he's trying to account for what he never signed. We cannot allow this to happen, and yet ESCC is cognizant of this thing.
So let's
suggesting to the Syria senator,
okay,
to demand for forensic audit with a view of prosecution. I think that is what should be done.
No, it's not even for the area senator to do so. It is us as a committee to make a recommendation to the House, directing a forensic audit, directing a special audit, directing any kind of audit that we deem fit. But for us to deal with what is before us, Governor, the proceedings of the evaluation committee that said we don't need a bridge, we don't need street lights, we don't need 50 millimeters of bitumen, can those be provided to the Auditor General? Because I've seen cases where evaluation committees have been taken to court.
Yeah.
So can we get details?
We shall provide.
So that we know who sat in those evaluation committees that decided we don't need a footbridge at 50 million. And so let's first look at the documentation, confirm that everything was done lawfully, and then go to the next level, whether everything was done effectively. That is a value for money question. So members, when you're writing our recommendations to the House, let's apply our minds to this so that we give actionable recommendations.
Chair, I'm impressed by the spirit of Senator Wakoli, but there's something I said that must also, in the interest of fairness, and I said a good thing, that governors and county governments exist in perpetuity. That you don't have silos, you don't have silos. On the other side of his mouth, he said we were prosecuting the roads matter from Bungoma, but because there was a change of chairman, then that matter seems to have been forgotten. So you're saying if there is going to be an efficient and smooth transition in the county governments, let that transition be smooth and efficient in all arms of government.
Okay, so can we leave the matter there? Rehabilitation of Sio Mayanja, Silila and Nandigwa rivers. We had looked at this earlier. We feel that this is a matter that you can allow the county assembly to look at, because you are saying you spent 5.9 million on trees, and then the seedlings did not survive. I don't know what decision we should make in Nairobi, because from that alone we would suspect foul play. But I'm sure that these seedlings were planted in wards represented by these members. They could be in a better position to establish. Unless, members, you think that we want to go and visit the river to see the trees and seedlings. Governor, you remember the story of one of your colleagues who put fingerlings in the river? Then they swam to the next county.
Yes.
Is this a similar case?
But I don't think it's similar. But it's maybe like you have rightly said, the members of the county assembly are on the ground. The committee can find out exactly what happened. It's also possible you can plant seedlings and they fail. It's also true. It can happen, but let's establish the truth.
Okay, County Public Service Board officers, we have demonstrated that your County Public Service Board is not doing a great job. You're putting up an office for them. Is this work in progress?
Yes, that is work in progress.
What percentage so far?
Silongi? What percentage? 37%. Oh, sorry.
Is contract on site?
That's is the contract on site? It's not on site.
When did it stall? Or as reported by the Auditor General?
Yes, through the chair. The contractor is not on site. It's told about 6 months ago. And the challenge has been a formalization of the contract. But the recommendation has been that they terminate and just retender.
A lot of contract issues. It's an indictment on your procurement procedures.
Yeah, the matter, of course, the recommendation had been given to the CEO of the board, and I think he's taken a bit too long.
Anyway, you said your board was put in place 2 weeks ago.
A month ago.
1 month ago.
Yes.
We keep this in view. ECD classrooms and two-door pit latrines. This is what I was saying at the beginning, that escalating issues of pit latrines to the Senate is a misuse of the powers and time of the Senate. But the issues are before us. Maybe just to tie it all up, Senator Wakoli, you had indicated that you had done some oversight on ECD centers.
There's even a report.
No, this is just my notes. The report will come after a short while.
Maybe you can give us a background and then it can help us resolve.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Chair. I think the matter that has been cited of Luyabwake ward, I was on the ground in that ward. The contractor, in perspective, was given 4 classes. He abandoned the 4 classes and is nowhere to be seen. In Luya Primary School, only stones were there and nothing else. The other school, he had built one side of the wall, and the connection between the wall he created was with another old wall and left it at the lintel. You can also cite other various institutions that have poorly been handled. It is in public notice in Bungoma. I was in Mrefu Primary School, where the workmanship was poor. The class, I think, was built 2019. The floor is not there. There are no chairs. There are no tables. And the matter is all over. There is another institution called and many others. I don't want to be devil because my good governor knows. There are many unfinished classes for ECD in Bungoma. In Sibakala Vocational Center as well, because this is a ministerial matter. So this is just a tip of the iceberg. And what we are asking the county government of Bungoma is those contractors that have been given ECD classes to construct, they ought to do a good job. Do a proper class, a proper flow, do proper power connectivity, do a toilet for those children, and now that we are giving porridge, do a kitchen. These places are not safe for our children. And this is a key example of many other areas. I will be tabling a report at the Senate and also with my governor, so that proper work is done. And those contractors that have not done a good job, they must be called to order and apprehended. Those ones who received money and they have not worked, the same must be done. Those people who have approved payment for projects that have been done badly, they must also be called to order, because it seems it is a systemic problem, both from the contractor side and people in government who are working under you. So I want to request, as you share with us, you also shed light and give our people hope that we will not continue having this. There are also schools. Some have got chairs and some have not got chairs. When you look at your report of work done, some places you say delivered, chairs delivered everywhere, or teaching aids delivered everywhere. But when you go to the ground, it is not everywhere. And these are matters that the public is listening and watching you speak, or your people speak. and they put us to answer these questions. Are we doing our oversight properly, or we are simply chair members in the entire process? So this is just a tip of the iceberg that has propped up here, that we need to escalate and call to order this particular
Thank you. The good thing is that the Senate Education Committee is running an inquiry on ECD centers across the country. And I think they will do a much more detailed analysis on some of these things. But it should worry you that ECD classes are coming up in a financial audit report. Yes, Senator?
I have attended this ECD by Education Committee, but they look more into school feeding program and curriculum. They don't look to the aspects of construction of and quality works of what, there are people who call it ECD classroom, others call it ECD center, where you're having the classroom, the teaching staff room, the ablution block or toilets, and also maybe the sleeping area for the young kids. So, Chair, I think on the issue of viability of construction, we must look at the committee because they are more focused on school.
Okay, thank you.
Curriculum.
I think a few broad issues, actually, yes.
There are even projects that you have done, several years they have not been opened, like your classes in Bungoma DB. 2 years down the line, there are padlocks on the doors. The other children are piled in one class or two by the public ECD teachers. So it means that when we construct classes, they must be opened, pupils must occupy with the right tools and equipment, with the right teachers who are paid properly on time, and the rest. I think the others will pursue the committee.
Okay. Now, Governor, let's come back to the report. I just wanted the Senator to lay the background. He'll pursue some of these things through the Education Committee, but we'll pick the ones that we can run with. Why are we having these things of pit latrines appearing in your audit report and getting escalated to the Senate? What are you doing to ensure that these things do not recur?
Let me say this. Continuity is very important. During my first term as the governor of Bungoma, we had a standardized model of ECD classrooms. And those who want to be genuine can bear witness. If you go, you'll find that we had ECD classrooms with blue iron sheets. And you can easily tell from any school that this is an ECD classroom built by the county government of Bungoma. When my successor came, he changed the approach and put more money on functions that were not county functions, on scholarships and bursaries, and therefore abandoned most of these ECD constructions and vocational training. When we came back, we find that a lot of those contracts had also been given out, and contractors have not been paid, and therefore that's why some of them will they will go and put padlocks and say we must be paid before we hand over the classrooms. So what we are doing now is to get back, and my focus has been that let us get back to what is our what's in our schedule for what does it say we do, and that's why when I initiated that there was a bit of resistance, there was a bit of was thrown here and there, so that we reduce now. In fact, what the control of budget did say that about scholarships and bursaries, that let us focus on what is ours, so that we build standard ECD classrooms, we equip them, and also give materials to be supported there. I want to maybe thank my my senator for the oversight, but I also want to ask him that when you get that kind of report, the forums that you also address, so that it doesn't appear like maybe it's infighting, you can raise it with me without maybe raising it in a funeral or in a forum that is not very pardon? So that then we are not forced to also respond because the way you have done it, the way the report that you're having, that's very, very important, because it will come, then we respond in a manner that we want to respond, then we see how we get our way forward. But I must admit that there has been a bit of breakdown in terms of the standards of the classroom, the ECD classrooms that we have been putting up. And just like you have rightly observed, I also do not expect that things like latrines and whatever will get here, but you have already given a way forward on what should be done, the effectiveness of the audit committees at the county level, so that these things are not escalated to the Senate.
Okay, so I want us to come to
Chair, just
honorable members.
an observation, just 30 seconds observation. You remember, Governor, in Wazingishu, there were children that were using pit latrine and unfortunately they fell into. In as much as these two pit latrines and other that has been raised in question number 22 and 23 has been escalated, why don't you change the design of the latrines? Because these are young ones, you can imagine, Chair, and there were casualties in Turbo constituency over having pit latrine in a preschool. So why don't you change, now that we are saying the former governor diverted money to some other programs, why don't you change the design so that we protect our children?
Point made, Senator Wakoli.
Thank you very much. First, I want to correct my good governor that when I've been raising these matters, I've not attended a funeral. So my good Lord knows that I've not articulated issues of the children in the funeral. Number two, when we stand in public to celebrate achievements, the same public will want us as oversights to talk about challenges in public. Keen study, Honorable Chair. I attended the oversight meeting in Brangasi, Vocational Training Center, and in that meeting unannounced, about 1,500 people came, and they were arguing about capitation. They were talking about tools. They're even blaming your principal for eating money. I had to give him an opportunity to defend himself because they wanted him to leave. And they were raising matters of money, that in 2016 they got capitation, 2023 they got capitation, and then 2026 they got capitation. So they were asking the teachers that are cheating on board. After that 2016, they staffed up to 2013, up to 2023. Then from 2023, that's when they got money in 2026. So as a leader, I have to listen to their concerns and definitely raise the matter to those concerned. And therefore, it cuts across the county, and you know your minister is here. The monies for capitation was sent the other day to our institutions. So you look at the money versus the need of the institution, then the principals are left not knowing what to do with the little resources. So it is not in bad faith that we talk about this. It is how we take it and how we turn it to make it useful to the person at the grassroots level and even make your legacy project a success. So I call upon the people you work with, my good governor, to be telling you the truth on time so that people don't start harassing your teachers at the grassroots level that after 2023, they have never been paid. Where is our money? Okay, and my good ministers, Senator, as I finish, Chair, my good MCS, kindly assist us to ensure that the money is going to vocational training centers flows consistently, so that those young people who cannot go to Sangalo National Polytechnic or Ukisiwa can have a lifeline to be trained for free through capitation by the county government. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Now, we will finalize by just, again, addressing where the problem lies. The last finding there by the Auditor General is failure to take action on issues raised by the internal and external auditor by the management. Feedback is a very powerful mechanism, Governor. You are an expert in public administration, but you know that feedback, they say, is a breakfast for champions. So whatever your senator is saying, that is feedback. It should be taken positively. And Senator, you don't need to apologize for speaking about these things, because as a leader, you can, whatever forum you have, you can address it. So I don't want you to be apologetic. But the formal feedback, there was an internal auditor in this delegation. Where is the internal auditor? Because this is where the problem lies. If what the internal auditor recommends is not taken into account, then we end up with 38 issues, which take us almost 5 hours in Nairobi. Internal auditor, could you let us know whether your audit charter has been approved?
Yes, Chair, my internal audit charter is approved.
When did your audit committee last sit to look at your report?
They sat in November last year, 2025.
In November last year?
Yes.
Since the Auditor General laid their reports, as the audit committee sat just to take note of the external audit report?
They've not sat. Is when I've given them a notice to sit next week.
What should be the ideal situation? But now that the Auditor General has laid their report, you know the governor is coming to the Senate. Shouldn't you cause a meeting to happen before?
Yeah, we should have called the meeting, but there was a delay because of some of the audit committee, they don't reside in Bungoma, and calling them without finances, sometimes it's a problem to them to come and attend the meetings.
So, Governor, if you make that work, if you make that process work, you wouldn't sit in the Senate for 5 hours, because you have seen half of the things here are things that could have been resolved if there was keenness on the part of your team, and if the recommendations of the internal auditors and external auditors were implemented. We hope that if you put in place the right mechanisms, your next report will be dealing more with policy issues rather than pit latrines and seedlings that have been washed away by the rivers. We have not been able to go into details on the receipt of revenue statement, but we take note that you have made a detailed response in writing. We will analyze that response. Earlier on, we saw that you had some slight growth in on-source revenue, even though 960 million of your revenue is coming from hospitals. That is not healthy, because if you take away the hospital fees, assuming we implement FIF properly, then you'll have very little money, you'll have very little revenue. So we'll analyze your written responses and make recommendations, which then we'll invite you again in about 60 or 90 days to follow up on how far you have implemented those recommendations. But it should worry you that 960 million of your revenue, is it 960? Chief Officer, 960 million.
Yes, Chair.
Out of a total of 1.4?
1.2.
1. No, it can't be 1.2.
It's the OSR is 671. Then the other one is 960.
It should worry you, Governor, if more than half of your revenue is coming from hospitals, because your total receipt was 1.4 billion. Out of which 960 billion came from hospitals. So only 400 million came from productive activities. We have asked the Parliamentary Budget Office to do an analysis, stream by stream, because since you moved to accrual, we didn't get comparative figures. So we'll do a stream by stream analysis and point out the streams where there could be a fall in revenue collection. Now, unless there is any other observation, Senator Wakoli.
Thank you, Chair. I have a question to ask our good lady who is in charge of audit. You have boldly said that many of your members don't come from Bungoma, and also logistics, fare and all that. What does that say? I thought the county government facilitates you to work. So why is it that you can, before your boss and Kenyan, say what you have said?
Internal Auditor.
Thank you, Chair. I've not said that they are not facilitated, but for this period, there's that issue of 50% that the budget has not been uploaded, and so the county could not access any money for them. Then our chair comes from Nairobi, other members come from Mombasa. So you see, you cannot call them when there's no facilitation for them to come and attend the meetings. But I've called the meeting, they'll be coming next week to deliberate on the issues that are on the table.
So, Chair, as Senator Bungoma, I think I should recommend that we need people who are accessible, people who can sacrifice, so that my county get results and value for money.
I think it was the first question we put to the governor when we asked him whether the audit committee was useful. And Governor, you can clearly see that the institutions that are supposed to help you are not helping you. Ideally, your audit committee ought to have convened before you came here, because they ought to have convened to look at the report of the Auditor General, make recommendations, and even help your team in addressing them. So if it's going to meet after this session, then it will not be very useful to you. So I guess that's the assurance that Senator Wakoli is looking for, and we also want to emphasize that your audit committee should be a tool that you use to improve your operations, improve your systems, improve your controls. It is not just a job for the boys. Governor?
Chair, you know, there were maybe a point of clarification. They actually come from Bungoma, but they don't reside in Bungoma. And also competitively sourced. But I know, like you said, maybe the challenges of, we had a bit of challenges in terms of cash flow, and that delayed a bit of meeting. But that's not to say that they should not be more active and more useful than they have been. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Any other observation, honorable members? Now, Governor, I will give you an opportunity to make closing remarks. And Senator Wakoli, if there's still something that has not been said, we will donate our time to you for the closing remarks. So, Governor, your closing remarks.
Thank you so much on behalf of the team from Bungoma. I want to thank you and all those who are here. And just to say, it has been a very interactive session. This is the way it should be. We come here to improve on where we have weaknesses, and also to point out areas that need more emphasis the way we have done. I think there's a lot of improvement. I remember during my first term, it was very acrimonious. Sometimes it would even turn physical. But when I also came around as a speaker, I tried to create an environment where we come and have this kind of cordial discussions and engagements which improve devolution at the end of the day. So I want to say thank you. The areas you have pointed out, I'll take it upon myself to take action where I need to take action and to improve. And maybe next time when we appear here, you will not see the same issues that have been raised in this audit discussions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Governor. County Assembly, I ought to have given you an opportunity to say something if there was anything you needed to say before the Governor. Chairman, is there anything you want to say? Very, very brief closing remarks.
Well, thank you, Chair. First, I would like to thank the interlocution or the work we have done today. First, I would like to appreciate the invitation. We, as the County Assembly, I would like to request our Honorable Governor that you make sure that your CCM and Chief Officers actually be providing information in case the auditors request. You know, there are some simple issues that have been mentioned here. Such issues could have been actually been solved at the county level. They could not have escalated up to this level. To Honorable Chair, with our reports, we have actually done, and after adoption by the County Assembly on the floor, we shall also make sure that we share. We are going to come up with proper recommendations, and I also urge the executive that in all circumstances actually be taking serious with the recommendations that we normally do at our County Assembly. Let them implement the way we normally come up with those recommendations. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair, Honorable Member. We are impressed that you have made progress on the report. That's how it should be. Ideally, maybe governors should first clear with the County Assembly before they come to the Senate, so that we are not asking the same questions at both levels. Ultimately, we'll get there. Honorable Wakoli.
Thank you, Chair, for this opportunity. I want to appreciate my governor and the team for coming through the leadership of our Chair. I hope that the detailed interrogation that we have had will have a positive impact in our various departments and committees and be able to transform our county into an icon of devolution. So I'm looking forward for a serious reawakening and therefore making our people proud. So I wish you journey masses back home. We will meet there and continue making Bungoma great. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator and Governor. Just in closing, we consider you too big to fail. You have been a governor, a senator, speaker, governor again. If you do not succeed, then it will be an indictment on the senators who want to be governors. And this room is full of them, from Kitui to Vihiga to Nandi to Bungoma. All of them would want to go and serve in the counties. But if the former Speaker of the Senate cannot be successful, then it will give a bad name to those who have been in the Senate. So you must succeed, and we will help you succeed. We will push you to succeed. We will whip you to succeed. You have no option. And the people of Bungoma should also be able to enjoy the fruits of devolution. I've just been joined by the chair of the Public Investment Committee, the Senator Osotsi, Senator from Vihiga. Senator Osotsi, we were doing our closing remarks, but since you're here, you can go on record.
Chair, I didn't come to attend this meeting. I came to share something with you. But I'm Godfrey Osotsi, Senator Vihiga County. Welcome.
You are welcome. He's also the deputy leader of a party, just like the governor. I think used to be the deputy leader of a party.
I am still the deputy party leader of the second oldest party in the Republic of Kenya called Ford Kenya.
Now I need to close this meeting before we go further. The meeting is adjourned.